And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb and Friends here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. I'm joined by my co-host, Stacey Thomas. You see there, as well as Melissa Banks. We're glad that you all could be with us on Amazon. If it is your first time with us, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. We have programming here 6 days a week, and as we're gearing up for Black Friday next month, you definitely don't miss any of our product selections as well as our interviews as well. You'll see the follow button either here in this corner or down below. And we welcome those joining us on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. Glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited about today's guest. We have Darrell Terrell joining us today. He's a model. He's an actor. We're going to talk to him not only about his amazing career, but also about what his year has been like. And, of course, that you guys know how to stay connected with him. Darrell, thank you so much for being on with us. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with every one of you.
Look, we appreciate that, man. And I'm going to be turning it over here to the ladies in a moment. But I do want to ask you, though, Darrell, as you kind of reflect on 2024 and this extraordinary journey, you've been able to be one of those people who's had different chapters in your life, right? That you've been able to be known for. What has it been like for you to kind of reflect on the journey and what's led you to where you are today?
I think the word for 2024 has definitely been growth. Just because, I've had the opportunity to learn so much about myself, even through adversity and challenges and getting past those moments and realizing, you know what, just because things happen doesn't mean you stop, doesn't mean you quit. Your whole character is judged off of how you overcome adversity. So that's what I felt like this year has really taught me the most, and just growing through this season.
Love that. We're going to talk more about that, Darrell. I'm going to turn it over to Stacey. Stacey, it's all yours.
Hey, Darrell.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you.
I tell you, you said something about adversity, but as I follow you and the nice family pics and the pics of just what you're doing, I wouldn't think there was adversity. But as always, I like to know the story behind the person.
Okay.
Mr. Sure. Oklahoma, first and youngest African man to win. Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, because you said something about adversity, my question for you is, when you won that title and they named you Mr. Oklahoma, was that the defining moment for you that you said to yourself, well, now I know I can do anything I set my mind on doing?
Yeah, I mean, majority of everything you just said is some of it, but the biggest part for me was redemption. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that same year, me and my cousin were living together as roommates. He passed away, and, majority of my life, his mom was my mother. And so it just allowed me to just sit and reflect. Like, I started the goal to pursue becoming Mr. Oklahoma at such a young age, being at 21 years of age, which I'm still the youngest person to this day to have won that title. Matter of fact, this year, it has been 33 years since the next African American has won.
Wow.
So, which is insane to me, myself, but, I wanted to do that for him, but not only him, but my aunt as well, because she's always been there for me. She was the disciplinary when I needed someone to show me, you know what? Getting disciplined is not a bad thing. It's a way of teaching you resilience, getting past those things, and understand that structure is not a bad thing to have in life. And so I can remember when I was a kid, my aunt would wake me and my cousin up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, and she would go, okay, you guys have to get a job. So here you go. 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, nothing's opened, mind you. So we are having to go fill out applications to get a job. And, it's just teaching responsibility that sometimes I don't see as much anymore because I don't know, it's just a different day and time, And so going through everything that she taught us, and I can remember having my weights in my bedroom and be up at 3 o'clock in the morning lifting weights and dropping weights on the floor. She'd come in my room and give me a spanking, and she'd walk out of the room and I'd continue working out. That is the type of life that I have lived all this time. Not giving up, continuous, no matter what. No matter what weapons have been formed against me, I continue. I still strive for excellence no matter what.
Well said. Well said. And knowing that you're just continuing to grow. My last question for you is, did you always want to be an actor? You're talking about the weights, but did you always want to be an actor?
Yes, I did. I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno. These men were the pinnacle for me because not only were they bodybuilding champions, but they were actors as well. And so as a kid, every day I got home from school, those are the men I would be watching on TV. These are the men who inspired me to lift weights. And so being able to resonate with them and understand that, in order to be a great bodybuilder, you have to have so much discipline. And I keep going back to discipline because it has honestly been the staple of my life. No matter if I'm an actor or not, I have to be disciplined if I plan on successful at any point. And so, yeah, those men were the influence to me. And I speak about them all the time still to this day. And here I am many years later. I can remember going on my first audition like 20 years ago when I lived in North Carolina. I had no idea what I was doing. I just told myself I'm going to drive from North Carolina to Atlanta. I go, bombed it. Then I got married many years later, and I woke up and I said, honey, I think I'm going to pursue that acting career.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's been nice being able to talk with you. I'm wishing you huge amounts of success. And now it's time for me to turn it over to Melissa.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Hi, Darrell. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Your spirit is so passionate. And when I listened to you talk just then, one of the things you said to Cyrus was growth is the word. That just takes me to another level because I'm all about being passionate about what I do. But I also look at the last few years and how much that's changed in our country and our world and how much growth. And that is a huge word. And I'm going to take that word and I'm going to use it. And I'm going to get through the next year and the next year, remembering that word, because that was so powerful to me when you said that. But I was excited about your journey. You just talked about the discipline that you were taught as you were growing up. But as a bodybuilder, I think about the focus that must take to get you there, the doing it even when you don't feel like doing it and just pushing through. But you were able to do that and have so much success. And then you turn to acting. So I'm curious. I mean, I know that you just mentioned some people that you admired, but the inspiration, was there a moment that you felt it in your gut? I always think about my journey and I can remember the moment that not I just wanted it, but I felt it in my gut. So what was your inspiration from the bodybuilding to making acting your thing?
Well, just to be honest with you, like I always have my moments with God late at night. And for some reason, my wife will mention the exact same thing. It's always super early in the morning. I get this sign, this anointment, and I go, and I'll wake her up. It'll be 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know what? I think I'm going to try that acting again. And what's so funny about that is that same morning in 2018, I wrote sticky notes, and they're still on my wall today that says, I will, I can, I must. I will be an actor one day. And for me, I've never been a person to back down from challenges. I knew that this was going to be hard. I knew that there was going to be a lot of overcoming and becoming during this process. And I still feel that way today. But just knowing that I'm sitting here talking to you and Stacy and Cyrus is just a small sign that I am heading in the right direction, because I'm meeting so many like-minded people who love this as well. But that's literally how this journey started for me.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And I love what you said about God speaks, and he speaks in early morning times. And but you feel it, but you know what? The key is you woke up and said, this is what I'm going to do. So I absolutely love that. I want to change the conversation a little bit and talk about your podcast.
Okay.
I have a podcast, and one of the exciting things about the podcast to me is just hearing the stories that the women bring to the podcast. So, what was your inspiration behind The Real World with Darrell Terrell, and who is it for, and what you hope the audience will take away from it?
Yes, The Real World with Darrell Terrell is about me interviewing guest entrepreneurs. And the reason behind it is so many people see how each person may be successful, but they don't get to know the backstory of the tribulations and the hard times that every person has gone through to get to that space of finally going, I made it. And that's where the power is at. That's where the passion to continue and to keep pressing forward, because they realize in their life that there's more to come. And so I wanted to do The Real World because it's really about that. People don't hear about people's life in the real world. They just see about where they are now, and they never ask those questions.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I could just sit here and go question after question after question, but Cyrus would shut me up anyway. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you and hear about your story. And I wish you all the success in the world.
Thank
and
you
I'll
so
throw it
much.
back to Cyrus.
Thank you, Melissa. Great job to you as well, Stacy. I want to reset real quick for everyone tuning in. See you guys over there on the Amazon side. You're watching Cyrus Webb and Friends here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting our broadcast for Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We are speaking today with Darrell Terrell today. He's not only a model, but also an actor. We've been talking with him about the journey. We kicked it off by talking about this year, but also thanks to my co-hosts, Stacey Thomas and Melissa Banks, kind of dive into the different aspects of the work he's doing. I want to give some quick shout outs here, Darrell. Hello to you, Moses Maddox, joining us over there on IG. Glad you can be able to join us. Knight Rider Core, hello to you. Good to see you as well. The Real Lady Extreme, hello to you, joining us there from Ohio. I appreciate you as well. I want to kind of pick up there, Darrell, and I appreciate that the questions that my co-host brought up, because one thing that's been able to happen with you is that, yes, you're following your goals and dreams, but you're making an impact along the way. Talk to us about that, because from project to project, whether we're talking about in front of the camera or even the podcast, like Melissa mentioned, you're reaching new audiences and reminding people of what's possible. What has that been like for you to hear from people who you don't know, Darrell, who are inspired by the journey you're on?
First off, it does make me feel good to know that people are paying attention and seeing what's possible. I think that every single one of us, even you, Cyrus, I mean, you just accomplished your 700th episode with your last podcast, which is extraordinary. Very few people are able to do such a thing, but every person has to make sacrifices to show people what is possible. And I'm just one of those individuals where I want people to know what's possible, because nothing is achievable without hard work and discipline. And I just want to be the example of that no matter what.
And I think that the great thing about your career too is that you're able to motivate people, but also you're able to challenge yourself from project to project as well, Darrell. And I thought about that when I looked at your reel that's on your website. I'm going to let you give your website out a little bit later. Talk to us about that. What does it mean like for you to slip into the skin of different types of characters? Some good, some that are more interesting, as we see in your reel. What has that been like for you to do when it comes to your acting journey?
I am the type of artist that I really want to tap into different characters to understand and feel what it may be like to be them.
Mhm.
And in order for me to do that, I spend endless amounts of time at home practicing, going over, practicing different voices, and then bringing that to in front of the camera. And so that is just a testament of who I am as a person because I don't ever want to do anything that's half-ass. I want to do everything with my whole self and bring it so people can see it for themselves and go, this guy went 100% into this character and nailed it.
Yeah. Melissa brought up your podcast, and I'm so glad that she did because for our audience, definitely want you guys to go back. She talked to you about the podcast. The thing that I thought was interesting about it is that it shows your willingness, as you were just, and I appreciate the compliment, but your willingness to be able to do new things. As you've been able to do with bodybuilding, with modeling, with acting. Did it just feel like an extension of who you were, Darrell, to go into the level of media that way with podcasting? Or was it something that was another way of being able to stretch yourself to see what was possible for you?
It was definitely something where it was me stretching myself to see what was possible. I'm a person that just loves having conversation with different people
Yeah.
to understand. Me hearing about their hardship and now seeing them here having a company that's making great money and they're successful, they have a big house or whatever it may be, and just seeing their success shows me what is possible. And that's what motivates me to keep pursuing what I love doing. And just understanding that going through hardship is just part of the journey, but overcoming the hardship is where you are going to grow the most and really build the character that you need to go to the next level of your life.
Yeah. I thought about too the timeline for you, Darrell, of the different projects you've been able to do when it comes to coming to acting. Looking at now 7 years ago in 2017, the podcast itself. After we're coming out of a very difficult season in the world,
Yeah.
right? People felt so isolated. Looking forward, I asked you earlier about this year. Looking forward, what are some other ways you'd like to be able to push yourself?
I will say that, this is something I've been talking to my wife about and bugging her like crazy, but I would like to start a YouTube channel and vlog. Um, I know I may not have the most interesting life, but that's my opinion. But it's just something that I love doing. I just love having conversation. I love making content.
Yeah.
And it's just part of me. And, I know that we're going to do it. We already have the page set up, but it's just in my soul.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing, and I'm excited about that. Hello to you, William McCrary. Good to be able to see you over there on Facebook, and I think that's a great idea. I've been, talking to members of my team about that. I think, and it's funny hearing you say that. I say the same thing about my life, but I think that's the thing. Other people will definitely tune in to be able to find out more information about you. I think, but also I think to just see you walk through day-to-day experiences, like you were talking about earlier with my co-host here, and to show them what's possible. Last thing I want to ask you about, and it's something that people can see, is your cover photo. I'm big on looking at people's cover photos on Facebook. I don't know, it's the nerd in me, Darrell, I think. But yours, though, has to do with belief. I want to talk about that as you were offering advice for others. What would you say to others that maybe 2024 was not the year they hoped it would be? what would you say to them about the importance of not giving up on themselves?
Well, the reason for that cover is just because I'm a huge believer in Jesus Christ and believing in that anything is possible. But along with that, there's executions that have to be done, reading the Bible, praying, having faith in everything that you're doing, and most of all, having faith that He's there and you're not alone.
Yeah.
And so it's just part of me as a person that I know that believing in something rather than nothing is so much more important. And that has just been the testament for me my entire life. Even as a kid, I went to high school living in an abandoned home. And so I had to believe that someday I will no longer be in this situation and that God has a bigger plan for me. And sure enough, here I am with you. I mean, here I am in acting. Here I am as a bodybuilder and so many other things that I've been able to accomplish. And that's just a testament of having faith and belief in a higher power that there's always a plan He has for your life, no matter what.
Love that. Such a great point. William says powerful. And over on IG, Moses says hardship is a part of shaping our success. I totally agree with that. Great conversation with you, Darrell. Again, everyone, Darrell Terrell has been our guest today. He's a model. He's an actor, an individual doing great things, including with this podcast. We really appreciate you stopping by today. Darrell, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
Yes, they can follow me on Instagram at Darrell Terrell Official. Big Dog 2020 on Facebook. I also have a fitness page at Darrell Terrell _ Yes, you can follow that page as well. But yeah, I'd love to. I always follow my friends back on social media, so it's never a one-way street. So we're in this together. So let's go.
Love that. Love that. I appreciate that, Darrell. Michael, hello to you. Michael says, love this. I appreciate all of you guys on the different platforms for joining us. It will be living on the platform that you're watching us on. For those joining us on the Amazon side, of course, you guys can, of course, stay connected with us there. Darrell, definitely looking forward to our next chat together, man.
I look forward to it. Ladies, it was a great meeting you. Thank you for the awesome questions. Cyrus, keep up the amazing work, brother. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb and Friends. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
You guys.